Hey, what's up, clan? It's your boy Sasuke back with another video, guys. This is an update to my monarch domain monarch deck list, guys. I hope you guys will enjoy this video. I'm gonna try to do this as quickly as possible because I don't know what's gonna happen in a few minutes, but we'll see. Let's start off with we run one Ether, mainly because Ether, the heavenly monarch, of course, you could tribute summon this card by tributing one tribute summon monster. Also, when it is tribute summon, you can actually send two cards from your two monarch spells or traps from your hand and or deck to the graveyard. Then bust out special summon, say like another monarch spell or trap card. I mean, say special summon like another monarch, like say Erebus or Chaos or Kuraz. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like Agmal, however you say his name. This card will come in handy for that, so that actually does help out tremendously. And sadly, it is limited. I was actually hoping that they'd bring it back at 3, but they didn't. They brought another one back, which I'm still equally happy for. Continuing, we actually do run 2 Erebus. I just need one more to complete the set. Hopefully I can get my third one soon. If not, then I'm sorry, but oh well. Erebus is actually very, very good because you could just if he's in the graveyard, you could just discard one monarch spell or trap card from your hand, then actually target either him or one different monster with 2400 attack or more, 2400 or more attack and 1000 defense. And add it back to your hand from the graveyard. So that actually comes in handy, and of course, like Ether, but a little bit different, Erebus actually has that ability where I mean, why do I say Ether? Erebus, my bad. Erebus has that ability as to where you can actually discard 2 monarch spell or trap cards and then just shuffle one card from your opponent's hand randomly, field or graveyard, back into the deck, and he will actually lose that card, which is very, very how do I say, useful in this case scenario. Continuing, we do have, for the monarch lineup, we actually do have 2 Kuraz. Kuraz is actually there because with Kuraz, when normal special summon, you can actually target up to 2 cards on the field, destroy them, and upon doing so, the person whose cards were destroyed gets to draw 1 card for each one that was destroyed. So it does help out with getting rid of pesky back rows, pesky monsters at the same time. Also, like, it does help you clear out your back row because your back row can become cloggy in any case scenario. So this card does help out a lot. We do run 1 Chaos, the Shadow Monarch, mainly because Chaos, he is a good addition. He is like another low level. He is another low. I can't even speak right now. My bad, guys. He is another low level monarch, and besides, if you actually tribute summon him, you can target 1 card on the field, banish that target, and if you do, inflict 1000 damage to your opponent if it was a dark monster. So that actually does help out tremendously in this case scenario, because if you're going up against your opponent and he has a dark deck, this card just essentially just banishes that one monster that your opponent was running or using, and you just get to do burn damage, which is actually very, very good. And it also does help with getting over really, really annoying cards that are actually there for protection, cannot be destroyed, but instead of destroying, you're banishing. Next, we run one of Chaos' older brothers, also his upgraded form, guys. We are running Chaos, the Mega Monarch. The reason why we're running Chaos, the Mega Monarch, guys, is actually because you can tribute summon this card by tributing one tribute summon monster, just like Ether and Erebus. But when this card is tribute summoned, you can actually target one card on the field, banish it, and if you do, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. Then, if it was a dark monster, banish all cards with the same name from the hand, main deck, extra deck, and graveyard. So, say that your opponent has, say, Ash Blossom on the field, which, of course, is the dumbest move you can do, because it is a hand trap, but just say, right? And say it's face-up attack, and say your opponent happened to be using a Layer of Darkness, which turns all cards on the field into dark monsters. Well, by this card's effect, you can actually banish that one, your opponent takes 1,000, and then you get to banish all copies of Ash in his hand, deck, extra deck, and graveyard, which is outstanding in every sense. And of course, if this card was tribute summoned by tributing a dark monster, add this additional effect. You get to banish you get to target 2 cards instead. So, hey, that helps out tremendously. That is actually all the monarchs we run. I know, it's very, very low, like, too low of a level of monarchs, but guys, I don't have the 3rd Erebus, and right now I'm still kind of trying to find the perfect consistency, so please bear with me. Next, we do run the required, Squire package. So it is your typical 3 Adeas and your 3 Adoses. And you're probably like, well, Sasuke, I've seen other people run only like 2 or 1 Adea and 3 Ados. Why is that? Well, I'm going to say this because everyone has their own personal preference. I'm not going to attack anyone for their choices. I mean, sure, like, you can run 2 or 3, but 2 or 1, but I personally prefer this card to be at 3 because it just helps me open up with it even more frequently, and it is actually very reliable because once this card is normal or special summoned, you actually get the ability to special summon a level 4 or lower. You get to special summon 1 monster with 800 attack and 1000 defense from your deck in defense position, except Adea, the Heavenly Squire. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn. Okay, we don't run an extra deck, which is very good. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one of your banished monarch spell trap cards added to your hand, so that actually does help you recycle your Pantheism, which is only at 1 at the moment, which I'm still kind of sad. I hope they bring it back at 2 or 3. But that is actually Adea's effect. Ados' effect is, if this card has no more special summon during your main phase, this turn you contribute summon 1 monster in addition to your normal summon slash set. You can only gain this effect once per turn. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 monster with 800 attack and 1000 defense in your graveyard, except Ados, the Underworld Squire, special summon it in defense position. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn. You can only use this effect of Ados, the Underworld Squire, once per turn. So, in a sense, like, say, you tributed these to effect, place, banish, effect, by this one's effect, target, add, say, Pantheism, by this one's effect, banish, special effect, special, tribute off again, pop off on it, well, you can't really pop off on that again, but yeah, you get where I'm going with this. So it does help out tremendously because that is actually a very, very good combo that you can use, and it also helps you bring out your higher monarchs even faster. That is all for the actual monarch lineup. The only 3 monsters that we run that are not monarch related is Vanity's Fiend, mainly because Vanity's Fiend prevents everyone from special summoning. So if you actually are running a monarch, I highly suggest Vanity's Fiend because Vanity's Fiend is OP. It's over the top. Like, you can never go wrong with this card unless your opponent's Dark Holes. But then again, gotta make sure you use this card wisely. So that is actually all for the monster lineup. I'm not even sure how many monsters we have. Let's have a head count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 monsters, guys. 16 monsters. Not bad. But definitely could have been more. For the spell cards, for your typical search engine, we are running your typical 3 tenacity. And of course, this next one is technically your personal preference, but I tend to run it at 3, so we do run 3. Return of the Monarchs, tenacity with its effect, just reveal a monster with 2400 or more attack and 1000 defense from your hand. Add 1 Monarch spell or trap card from your deck to your hand, except tenacity of the Monarchs. You can only activate tenacity once per turn. Very likely because you can actually reveal all 3 Stormforths if you don't have a Stormforth and your opponent just doesn't have any luck. Like, he doesn't have any luck. He would have to choose Stormforth. Or you can make him choose one of the 3 domains, and that's literally all he'll be able to pick. And then with Return of the Monarchs, this card, when you tribute summon a monster, you can activate one of these effects. Add one monster from your deck to your hand with one monster with 2400 attack and 1000 defense with a different name from the tribute summoned monster, or add from your deck to your hand one monster with 2800 attack and 1000 defense with a different name from the tribute summoned monster. So in a sense, and the monster that you tribute summoned to activate this effect has to be resolved, like has to be face up on the field to be resolved. So that is that. For one of the cards for protection, which is your protection engine, one of the cards that we use for the protection of the mechanic of this deck is, of course, March of the Monarchs. I run 3 because I feel it is a necessity to run 3. Just essentially, tribute summon monsters you control cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So, have this card on the field, you tribute summon a monster, your opponent tries to activate compulsory, just essentially he can't. He tries to Raigeki or Dark Hole, he can't. Same thing with Supreme King Zearch, tries to nuke the field, nope. And so forth and so forth. This one came off the ban list barely. I'm so glad, but I need one more of it. So we do have 2 Stormforths. Stormforth is extremely good because you can use it to tribute one of your opponent's monsters to tribute summon this card, which is very, very, very good in every sense. That's why you originally need to run it at 3 because it's just that good. We do run 1 Pantheism, which is your draw power, because you just essentially just discard 1 Monarch spell or trap card from your hand to draw 2 cards. Then you can banish this card from your graveyard and reveal 3 Monarch spell or trap cards. Your opponent chooses 1 for you to add to your hand. The rest go shuffled back into the deck. 1 Frost Blast of the Monarchs, mainly because if you control a monster with 2400 or more attack and 1000 defense, target 1 set card on the field, destroy that target, destroy it, and you can banish this card from your graveyard, and you can banish this card and 1 Monarch spell trap card from your graveyard, then target 1 set card on the field, destroy it. So in a sense, this actually does come in handy when going up against cards that would actually set things instead of activating, like trap decks. Another card that we want to run at 3, but we only have 2 of, which I have 3 cards that I need 1 more of, which is this one that I'm about to mention, Erebus and Stormforth. We are talking about Domain of the True Monarchs. Domain of the True Monarchs, while you're the only one that controls a tribute summon monster, and you have no cards in your extra deck, your opponent cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. Okay? Doesn't really make a difference because this deck literally locks down everything. If a tribute summon monster you control attacks an opponent's monster, it gains 800 attack during damage calculation only. Once per turn, you can reduce the level of one monster with 2800 attack and 1000 defense in your hand by 2 until the end of this turn, even if this card leaves the field. Even after they are summoned slash set. So that actually does help out tremendously. Yeah, that's how that one would work out. For a bit of staples, we do run 3 staple cards, which is Tribute Burial, Monster Reborn, and Hay Tornado. Hay Tornado to bounce all spells and traps back to the hand, because some spells and traps will become pesky, and if you don't know if your opponent's running a Mirror Force and you don't have anything to protect your monsters, that card comes in handy. Monster Reborn to bring back the monarchs that you really need back, but you can't special them back. We would have been running Soul Charge, but Soul Charge is banned at the moment, so that actually stinks. And we are substituting the we're substituting the third Stormforth with Tribute Burial, because this card you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn. Once during this turn, you can conduct a tribute summon that requires 2 tributes by banishing 1 monster from each graveyard instead of tributing it. So, yeah, can you imagine how well that actually runs? That's actually a pesky card because you just banished your opponent's graveyard. 1 card from your opponent's graveyard, and that actually does help out. And that's the actual spell lineup. I do believe there is more spells than monsters and traps in here, but I'm not too sure, and that is actually a high possibility. We're almost finished with the deck, guys, so please bear on. Okay, so for the traps, we are running 3, the Prime Monarch, which actually does help out with draw power at the same time, and recycling your cards, because you could target 2 Monarch Spell or Trap cards in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, then draw 1 card. If this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 1 other Monarch Spell or Trap card from your graveyard, special summon this card in defense position as a normal monster, fairy type, light, level 5, 1000 attack and 2400 defense. This card is not treated as a trap card. You can only use this effect of the Prime Monarch once per turn. So, helps out with tribute summoning a lot more faster in case like you need to pop your cards, banish 1 Monarch Spell or Trap card, special summon this, then actually tribute, and you just helped yourself out in so many ways. Right now we do have 2, the Monarchs Erupt. I do need 1 more. So this card actually, what this card does is activate only if you have no cards in your extra deck and control a tribute summon monster. Negate the effects of all face-up monsters on the field while those monsters are face-up on the field, except tribute summoned monsters. So your opponent has say Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman, and he turned all your monsters into dragons and switched them to defense. And you have this card face down, just activate, and you control a tribute summon a monster. Effect, his cards are negated, your monsters can now go back into face up attack. And of course the last card is of course Escalation of the Monarchs. The reason why we are running Escalation of the Monarchs is because once per turn during your opponent's main phase or your opponent's battle phase, you can immediately, after this effect resolves, tribute summon 1 monster. So this grants you to tribute summon during your opponent's turn. And I know a friend of mine who is saying, dude, you don't need Escalation. Escalation's not going to be good in your deck. Well, guess what? This allows me to tribute during his turn. So his main phase begins. Effect, say I have a monster that I wasn't able to tribute to pop off for Vanity's Fiend. effect, Tribute, Vanity's Fiend. Your opponent is just like, oh no. And that is all for the Monarch deck. This is a 40 card Monarch deck. Nearly complete, just need I think 3 to 4 cards. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't already done so, please leave a like on this video. Do comment down below which Monarch was your favorite, or is your favorite, because I actually do want to know. Also comment which, for the next ban list, which Monarch card do you think they might take off. And of course, bless you. Please do subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Hit the notification bell so you can be notified of every video I upload. And that's all for now, guys. Later.